always a short video because a few people will ask for it, and it's a bit easier to explain all of the things regarding UI that I have for the people that want it. For the ones that are wondering, I don't use the settings-based mouse over, I use macros. So just normal mouse over for all the different healing abilities. For PI, you can do what I do, which is the lazy version. If you want to do it smarter, you could do a specific name on one specific target. It's a bit easier to use, easy enough to make. UI normally build is always going to go in the order of healer, tank, then DPSs. My Omni CD will be tracking some defenses and a little bit of offensive, mostly for PI usage. AoE externals such as Storm, Savaag, etc. on the top of my party frames. On the right is always going to go kick, AoE CC, single tide CC, and utility. And racials down here at the bottom. Then some people wanted to have a short look at my weak hours, what I generally use for weak hours in dungeons. There are a few. There is one that calls out if people use shit as Mars Barrier, images, poison cleansing totem, etc. I use for the weapons in Necrotic Rake. There is the Mr. Scythe, automatic mace, defensives on raid frames, which also works for 9+. Power using one to tell when people are using offense CD, so I know when to use my PI. Dominant Mind just gives you a 30-second timer. When there's 5 left, it says it will break soon. It will say the same second it's breaking, so you know when to re-Dominant Mind your target. A frontal one that just gives an alert whenever frontals are going off. This is mostly for when I play either in melee or if I play a melee DPS. Infested Group for Arakara just tells you, so you have an idea of like who it can't go on with the next stop on the second boss. So wait, this and plus talent reminder can be fine. I've not updated it, so right now it's telling me to take talents that I don't really want and don't really need. So that one is not really relevant. A potion ready one just says when your potion is ready, mostly because I am really bad at remembering to use my pre-pot, especially when I play DPS, so that's mostly why. Priest UI, made it myself, can share if people want it. It's good for some, not good for all. Raid buff tracker just tracks whenever somebody's missing raid buff because people forget to buff, so it's an easy way to tell them to buff. Combat timer just to track and learn if some pulls are lasting too long or something like that. Spell sheet on nameplates shows abilities and enemies' nameplates and how long they have left. It's always good to have in general, I would recommend. Targeted spells just shows whoever is being targeted and by how many. Good to know, especially for disc, pre-shielding, pre-using an external in general, healing up quickly if needed. Battle res, Bloodlust and mana tracker, it's not really relevant this season because disc has good mana, but normally it's mostly also for tanks to track the healer's mana. Dwelled in Dungeons tracks the different dungeon mechanics when they're coming up. It's decent to have as well. Pain suppression, it's for macro, so if your tank either whispers you or put in the party, it's just PS. It will pop up and tell you to pain suppress that person. When you do so, it will tell you that you did. If you don't have pain suppression, it will tell them how long CD there is on pain suppression. Good for pucks. World marker cycle, that's just for marking with keybind, so I can mark on one key and remove with another one. Not that one. Then there's Bloodless Mind, just reminds you that Lust is ready if you play a Lust-based class. Focus kick, not really relevant for disc of course, but it's just so that if you have a focused target when it casts, it will come up and tell you to kick. So good if you play a class with a kick. General bar, I don't use it anymore. It used to be just to track the racials and so on. I just use through Omni CD. This one again, don't use it anymore. Some people do like it. Just different ways to look at your timers for big rigs, little rigs. That's all the weak hours I really use. Some people also want to know about the general add-ons that I use. I use weak hour sound pack by Corsi just to have a bit more sound options for weak hours. I use Alter Ego, it's a bit easier to track my ults, what keys I have, etc. Same for Alcoholic. Big rigs, little rigs, not really a fan of DBM. Don't use Cell. Cell is a great add-on though for healing, but I've not really been happy about it yet. Details of course, my LGUI. Friend groups just makes it a bit easier to track your friends and your friend list. You can group them up, make your own small groups. hiding bar, just so all my things are hidden up here instead. ID tip to help make weak hours because you can see the ID and your abilities. The little rigs, method rate tools for rate of course, method engine tools to check routes, make routes, everything like that. Method plus pull, it just displays the percentage in dungeons. Not even close, great website, add-ons just for grabbing the data. This website is for making sure that you know if you can survive something or not. On this CD for tracking all these extra things. Pre-made group filter just makes it easier to search for keys. Warp Deplete is just a timer I personally prefer when it comes to M+ Dungeons by itself. Not even close in case people don't know what the website is. This is the website. So it basically just grabs the data. In this case from previous grab data, I could go in, I can see that with all of these things, with flashing on my fate, on the third boss in Siege, well, I'll still get overkill, so I have to use a shield on myself. So it's a good way to know like when there's only fade enough, when it's only flash heal enough, depending on the level you're doing. In this case it was 17, but if I go down to 16, I could know that, well, I'm more than fine without having anything but myself. I can solo survive it on 16. So it's good to know, because then I can focus more on other people. Yeah, I cannot really think of much else that people would be interested in knowing. I guess gear could be a thing. I generally just prioritize haste and verse. You can go a little bit for crit. Tertiary is more important, which is why I see me using high mastery neck or high mastery boots, because there's avoidance. That's more or less about it, at least, that I could consider running over in this one. This was just because somebody requested me making a UI add-on based video. So, yeah. Use with it if you can use any of this information. If you can, then yeah, use whatever you are most comfortable with. Not everybody likes my UI. Some people hate it, some people love it, some people doesn't really care. So yeah, you can use the information if you want to. If not, then at least hope you can push some keys. Thank you.